edition of Midwest Reviews. Today we're actually going to try to tackle 3 movies within a 10-minute time span, which may or may not happen, knowing us. But the 3 movies we're going to be considering are Age of Ultron,
Antman,
but Captain America Civil War. So, anyway, you handle this, I'm going to take a nap.
Alright. So, but anyways, start with Age of Ultron. First thoughts coming out of the gate. I thought it was really good. It was a really well written story. The premise is that Tony Stark basically wants to build artificial intelligence so that the Avengers don't have to keep doing what they're doing and nobody has to die. And his idea is to create Ultron using the Jarvis program. And, well, you know, what happens is that Ultron takes over and decides that the humans are the ones that need to be destroyed. They're the threat. And so you kind of get introduced to a couple of new characters in this movie, and those are the Maximoff twins. And so they ended up switching sides there and realizing that, you know, what they were doing wasn't right, so they switched sides to help out the Avengers. Okay, so moving on to another character that was also introduced was Vision, which was played by the voice of Jarvis, Paul Bettany.
Yeah, here's the deal. Is this you see a foreglimpse of Civil War in this scene because Tony and Banner are attempting to create this new deal, which already created Ultron, and Steve is like, "You're an idiot. We shouldn't be doing this." Mm-hmm. But ultimately, the factor comes in when Thor makes it happen because he saw that Vision would become an ally.
Yeah.
Anyway. But ultimately, the Vision, I think, he's kind of the breakout star because out of all the Avengers, he's the only one that can lift Thor's hammer.
Yeah, which that was the cool part, because they had that scene where they had everybody trying to lift the hammer. You know, they had Hawkeye, they had Iron Man and War Machine, and they had
every
Hulk,
Avenger.
And they had Captain. The only one they didn't really have was Natasha.
But, okay, so ultimately, Ultron turns the country of Sokovia. He lifts the city out of the sky and plans to drop it to wipe out humanity. Ultimately, was it as good as the first Avengers? In my opinion, no. But was it a good movie still? Yes.
Yeah, I agree with Kellen. I agree that it wasn't as good as the Avengers, the first movie, but it definitely held its own, you know, to it.
So on to Ant-Man.
Yes, Ant-Man. I kind of liked the route that they went with it instead of going with Hank Pym as the choice, making Scott Lang. I kind of thought that was kind of a good choice. A lot of people didn't like it, but I was okay with it. I kind of liked it, you know. And having Michael Douglas as Hank Pym was just downright awesome. Yeah, thumbs up for that, man. That was just totally awesome. Oh, yes, Yellow Jacket. Was that Yellow Jacket?
Okay, so here's the deal. A little nerd fact for you. Anyway, it was a hero identity that for the movie, they turned it to the identity into a villain used by, what's his face?
Darren Cross. Yep. I thought that was kind of neat. I really did. I thought it was very, very neat.
And it doesn't... Okay, you're thinking a dude that shrinks down to an inch in height. The way that they did it, it's not dumb as it sounds.
No, it's pretty cool.
It's actually pretty cleverly delivered because he retains human strength and stamina and everything of a full-grown man. The thing is it comes into play because him and Darren Cross, their suits can both shrink down in size, and they have this miniaturized battle in his daughter's bedroom. But it's pretty well delivered. And the thing is Darren Cross is more memorable as a villain in Ant-Man than the guy that comes across in Civil War that's the villain.
I just wanted to say that the actor choice for Scott Lang, Paul Rudd, perfect. He played the part so well. I mean, he's funny when he needs to be, and he's serious when he needs to be.
And so that transitions again into Civil War, which is funny because, spoiler, Ant-Man joins Captain America's side. But, okay, so the thing is nobody really dies in this movie except the one bad guy, Crossbones.
Yep. And, well, of course, some of the civilians when
yes, that is true. Whenever he blows up. Basically, there's so much damage that they say, okay, we need to regulate you guys. And the thing is the point is brought up that they try to make this movie like, oh, there's 2 points you really got to consider. Iron Man's point and Captain America's point. The point of the movie is they can't deliver strong enough reasoning on Iron Man's side. Basically, this whole movie, you're like, Captain America all the way, baby, because the point is brought out is if they're registered and controlled by the government, which in all the previous Marvel movies, there's been a corrupt government agency that's been trying to manipulate the heroes. So why would they place themselves back under that, you know, it could be a corrupt politician with the ultimate end game that could ultimately hurt them, you know, and it doesn't make no sense.
Tony's arguments hold no weight. I mean,
basically, he gets, this one woman says, in your battle in Sokovia, my son died. And that was the one thing that needed to make Iron Man turn after he's killed how many people? Anyway, this guy is the worst, most forgettable villain ever. Like, he is on the opposite end from Loki.
And the thing is they didn't develop the character. Like, nobody, like, we went into this movie not knowing this character at all. Like, I didn't. You know, at least if you're gonna have this character be in there, this bad guy, at least get us introduced to him in some of the other movies before this movie, so that way we can kind of see where this character's coming from. He just kind of gets thrown in there, and he talks about the Sokovia incident and how his family was killed and I'm like, okay, you know, so he's driven by revenge. They should have developed that in the movie. They should have had scenes with him.
A little bit more emotional weight.
More, you know, emotional weight. Then we could have probably been more attached to this character. But as Kellen brought out, he was pretty forgettable.
He didn't have the gumption to get out there and fight the heroes. Which, here's my deal: is a good villain is one that can go toe to toe with heroes instead of hiding like a coward behind a pane of unbreakable glass. Yeah. Like this guy. In my personal opinion, the best scene of the movie is when both sides clash, because it couldn't be as big as the comics of war, which that's the closest we get. Which one of Cameron's favorite characters,
first time being introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man, hands down the best.
Tom Holland can play a nerd.
He can play a nerd and he can play Spider-Man. I mean, this guy can't fight very well, and he can make jokes and all this stuff, and that's what makes him a great character, because he's not as good as the other Avengers. You know, he's still kind of learning his powers.
New.
You know, he's still new. And one of the things I love is they didn't go into his origin, and Tony Stark going to see him and seeing his hot aunt.
Make no mistake, it deals a lot with Captain America, but
Absolutely.
There are large gaps in the movie. Like the scene when Iron Man goes to talk to Spider-Man, you're like, are we still watching a Captain America movie? The end fight is what I have an issue with, because the villain says, I'm going to divide you, I'm going to make you fight each other, even though he's already done that. And the thing is he releases video and shows Tony, because it's Tony, Bucky, and Cap in the same room, and he shows a video of Bucky under Hydra's control killing Tony's parents. When Tony heard, hey, I'm going to make you guys fight each other, Tony should have first of all been like, okay, I know what this guy is trying to do. Second of all, Cap even tells him he was under Hydra's control. He was not in control of it. I don't care.
You know, Iron Man was just it just fell flat to me. It was kind of like
it
was forced.
Okay, I get he killed his parents, but the thing is, Tony, he wasn't in control of his actions.
You gotta understand that. It's like
it was Hydra that killed your parents. They just used Bucky as a tool. It's not Bucky's fault, but yet Iron Man's like, I'm gonna kill you anyway, even though it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, I mean
even though you couldn't help yourself.
It was kind of dumb in that aspect. It was dumb in that aspect.
And then the best part I like is one of the coolest characters in this movie is Black Panther, because at the end, that coward that was behind the glass runs away while he's assuming that the three are killing each other. And anyway, then Chadwick Boseman, because that guy, the coward, killed his dad, and he tries to take his own life, and Boseman stops him and basically says, no, you're not getting off that easy.
Yeah.
So it's really kind of cool. And then another scene back at the airport fight, when the two sides clash, you get to see Giant Man for the first time.
Yeah, Antman. It was kind of funny, but yeah, so he becomes Giant Man, and what the funny thing is what he does, he grabs War Machine by the leg, and
Iron Man's like, give me back my roadie.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. But you know, Ant-Man had another kind of a funny scene in the movie that I really enjoyed was you know, there was a scene that you see in the trailers and the TV spots with Hawkeye and his bow. Well, he's like on the arrow part of Hawkeye's arrow, and so he's on the tip of it, and so
they shoot it,
and he goes, you know, underneath Iron Man's suit, and he starts ripping Iron Man's suit apart, and he says this really funny line. He says, "Oh, you're gonna have to take this to the shop." And Tony goes, "Who's speaking?" And he goes, "This is your conscience. We don't talk much these days."
Yeah, it's pretty good. And that actually was taken straight from a comic book cover of Ant-Man on the end of Hawkeye's bow. the theory is on this one that Black Panther is, you see at the end of the movie that all of Cap's side was arrested and put in the raft. Well, he breaks him out. Well, him and Bucky and presumably the rest of his team are now in Wakanda. So
Yeah.
they're the secret Avengers based out of Wakanda because Black Panther is basically harboring them because he learns that Bucky was not responsible for killing his father. So Bucky goes under ice until they can take all the Hydra stuff out of his head. And then Cap's team is still based out of Wakanda, which is really kind of a cool setup.
Yeah, pretty cool. One thing I didn't mention that I wanted to mention in regards to the Spider-Man suit, best suit ever. I love it. The eyes
Black
move.
eyes.
That was so cool. Spider-Man. And him and Steve Rogers, him and Captain America have a very cool scene in the movie where they're fighting each other and Steve just goes, "You got heart, kid." He goes,
Where
are you from? And he goes, Queens. And he goes,
Brooklyn.
Which is cool. I thought that was awesome. So
There's so much more in that movie that we could have gone over, but those are probably some of the best points, not all of them. So anyway, we've been wanting to do these, and I think we kind of held off on Ant-Man and Age of Ultron for the right time, because now we've been able to get the base bones of these three movies.
Yeah.
But we did want to try to fit this within like 10 to 15 minutes. So this has been another episode of Midwest Reviews. Hope you guys are enjoying Season 3 so far.
catch you next time.
Peace, I'm out.
Hey, by the way, hey, hold on. I got the latest Tales from Space comic book, man. This is fantastic. Check that out, man.
Tales from Space. Interesting.
Yeah,
Why does that car look like a DeLorean?
I don't know. Anyways, don't they know that DeLoreans don't exist anymore, technically?
Yes, they do.